Welcome to another episode of Truthzilla. I don't think I've ever done the introduction. Wow, look at that. No, that's hilarious. So anyway, guys, we just want to stop real quick and just do a shout out to how you can support the show. So you can find us over at rockfin.com/Truthzilla. You can create a free account, watch all our videos there, not on YouTube, because we get cryptocurrency just for your clicks. You can create a premium account, watch all of our premium videos, plus all the premium videos from all the other content creators on there. Like, it's just a whole smorgasbord of all your favorites.
Sam Tripoli,
Whitney Webb, dude. Like,
Whitney
yes,
Webb.
it's got to go check it out. Also, we just launched our Patreon page, so patreon.com/Truthzilla. We're going to have the bonus audio up on there. And, of course, check out the Truthzilla shirt shop. I got one here for our friend Cheney.
Yay, Cheney. I love you, Cheney.
It says, ever wondered if you would have complied in 1930s Germany? Now you know, with a big old freaking mask on it. So anyway.
One more I just want to say is make sure you go check out our new documentary, The 10 Stages of Genocide. Like and share that shit. Let's spread it.
Yep,
Far
100%. And yeah, so anyway, guys, great episode. Tim James, bam.
Welcome to Truthzilla. I am Megan, sitting here with Scott and Ed.
Hello.
Today we are happy to welcome back Tim James, a health hero. He is the founder of Chemical Free Body. Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, Megan. Ed, Scott, thanks for having me on your show again, guys.
What's up, Tim?
We're
Welcome
happy
back,
to have
man.
Thanks for
back.
coming back, Tim, for sure. Yeah, I think, since you came on and just our whole journey of truth really has led us down our own health paths, really, So, but you specifically were a really turning point, I think, all of us,
the jumping pad.
Yeah, the
really.
jumping pad, really.
Totally, yeah.
And we kind of left with, like, the big thing we needed to do. We're like, we need to go get...
colon hydrotherapy.
Yeah. So
So-
we...
So we did.
Ahead. Yeah, we did.
We did as a little group.
Yeah, we did a
And then
group.
we filmed it.
Did you guys do it like joint massage tables? You're all doing it?
No, they had separate rooms. And
No, but we were like on Zoom calls. Although I didn't do it. Once I got in the room, I was like, I can't do. I was messaging him. I'm like, I'm sorry guys, I'm not turning on my camera.
Well, we
but...
wanted to make a big fun thing out of it, right? And then, like, so I was on the Zoom call communicating. I was the first one to go in and telling it, "Hey, dude, whoa!"
He's like showing me the
tube
tube.
stuff. Like, anyway, so it made for some really good bonus content, right? But then at the same,
we should probably clear this up so
Yeah.
people listening, if they don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Colon hydrotherapy is when you sit on a tube rectally and water goes gently in and out of you for about an hour
Yeah.
and it cleans your colon. Why?
Yeah.
Because the average person's carrying around 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material in your colon, and like Dr. Scott told me, he said, "Look, Tim, if you don't, you got 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag, and if you ever want to be healthy, you have to clean that stuff out." All right, so keep going. Now they know what we're talking about.
yeah, for sure. So, and so then about halfway through, I realized, you know what, this is a very spiritual thing. I need to I'm gonna end this call and kind of get in zone and kind of get in tune here.
Yeah.
But anyway, So there's never in a million years probably I would have ever done that had it not been for our conversation, and so it's just kind of kicked us off. So much gratitude.
And I've had a second. Now.
That's awesome. I mean, kudos to you guys for putting yourself ahead of societal conditioning, especially for the guys. Women usually aren't such a big deal about it. I do have one friend of mine, Serena, man, she was like, "I ain't doing it." And like years go by and she did everything else, but she just wouldn't do it. So people, that's why we developed that gut detox product, because there's just some people, no matter how convincing we are showing them pictures inside of people's colons that are unhealthy and what a healthy colon looks like visuals, they're still not going to do it. So, at least we have products to help them out with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that anyone, if you're on the American diet for long enough, your gut is going to bother you. And when it get bad enough, you're either going to go the pharma route or you're going to try things like this. So for me, it was an easy decision, right? I'm not going the pharma route. So when I heard about this, the first time I heard about it was on your show with when you had Rebecca Harder on, and she told about her whole setup up there, and I knew I needed to do it right away.
Yeah,
so,
that was a good episode.
Yeah, it was really good for sure. But so we found someone local in town who we love, Tara Alder, who also knows Rebecca Harder.
They're like the nicest people in the world. These people are like angels that are working in that industry, literally pumping crap out of people all day long and helping them get that stuff out of the way so the body can heal itself. They're amazing people.
Certainly.
I felt, I was surprised. I guess I sort of thought that I would feel maybe like some improvement over time, but immediately I felt different immediately. And like I was telling Tara, who was helping us that day, I've just carried around like this. I don't know. I always just termed it too. Like she was talking about like the psychology behind all the stuff being impacted, and just like, recycling into the blood and the way that it can impact you psychologically. And I feel like I carry around this enormous amount of anxiety and have for probably like 6-7 years now. I always kind of was an anxious kid, but then I got older and some things happened in life and it got terrible. And I just kind of got used to kind of this feeling in my sternum all the time. And I always just say it was like anxiety, like this crushing, hurting, uncomfortable, like anxious feeling. And I never in a million years thought that particular feeling would go away after doing this. But literally it was like immediate. Like I walked out of the room and into the lobby and it was immediately apparent to me. And it's actually been such an issue with me in my life that every day when I wake up, I'm anticipating, like, I start to become conscious of my body as I'm waking. And usually I would start feeling that right away. And I'd feel it all day until bed. I've just lived with it. That has not returned. So that's just one thing, but that's the first thing. And it's been huge. And the way that I can tell that I'm, taking food in, processing food, eating food differently, and being more mindful about things, it's a huge difference. So
what would you, if somebody came to you before you knew about what we shared with you and what you did and said, I can 100% guarantee that I can help you fix that, but it's going to be X amount of dollars. How much, if somebody said $2,500, would you have paid it? No one guaranteed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
5,000?
Well, I mean, if I had it, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, because it's striking. The feeling and the overall condition, it's a striking like before and after.
What was it like $100, $70, something like that?
It's like 150.
About 150, I think is what we paid.
150. Oh, first time.
Yep.
Intake and stuff.
Yep.
$150,
yep.
right?
Super.
Right, and then you so it's really awareness and education, and then you take an action. And we have a lot of people, guys, that they don't really understand. Like when you have an impacted colon, it can lead to all kinds of problems. Prostate, when people go in, they have, it's inflammation in the prostate, right? Well, my prostate's getting really inflamed. My markers are going up. I could have cancer. We need to biopsy that sucker. Well, in some cases, you might just have a bunch of impacted shit pushing up against your prostate.
Right.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Your PSA levels are going up. But what I've learned is that PSA levels have nothing to do with cancer, but they have everything to do with inflammation.
Yeah.
And and when people have prostate cancer, and I just had a show on it. It was episode 50. Was it 50 or 49? I think it was episode 50 with Shara Kelly. One of my employees, Matthew, he went through all of this, and he was put on the hormonal, the meds, the hormonal drugs, and his arm hair and his leg hair fell out. And he was crying at commercials. He started getting boobs. They removed the prostate. They did the biopsy first. They removed the prostate and they nicked a whole bunch of stuff. And then his dick didn't work anymore.
Oh God!
And then they put in this thing in there to he would and under his skin he'd go. It was just like this thing and pump him up. And then when he's done, he'd and let it go back down. But his wife said it just completely destroyed their sexual, relationship.
Oh, man.
And it's just like, I'm married to a woman now. So finally he got off all that crap. But that's the thing that's like, for me, I want to bring awareness. I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be, but sure. If you have high PSA levels and they're like, you need to get a biopsy, you need to get a biopsy. Well, what they're going to do is the biopsies, they're going to take out a little bit of that material right off the prostate. If you do have cancer, what you've just done is you've spread those cancer cells throughout your whole body. And what ends up happening is when people get these biopsies for prostate, it'll end up metastasizing to their spine or to their kidneys, or it'll go up to their lungs, because you're shooting those cells all over the place. Now, the doctors will tell you, no, we're taking it out, we're taking big margins and stuff, but they can't guarantee it. They don't have microscopes to make sure they're corralling millions, if not billions of cells, right? Yeah. And this has been a lot of people that I've worked with that have worked with prostate cancer for a long time have told me. So again, if you have high PSA levels, maybe we should clean out your colon first and scratch that one off the list.
Sure, certainly.
To make sure, because it'll be pushing up against the prostate. Just like, now you think, well, how's that possible? Well, if I put my finger on your shoulder and then I let go, it's not going to bug you. But if I put my finger on your shoulder and I walk around for 5 years, my finger on your shoulder's going to have a sore where my finger's touching it, right?
Yeah.
Certainly.
And it's the same thing on the other side. We've had people that we've told about this that have had low back issues forever. Maybe they didn't even bring up the low back issue on the intake form. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. And then they go get a colon hydrotherapy session, or they take our gut detox product and drink a bunch of water. And then all of a sudden their back pain goes away and they're like, oh yeah, I got a colon hydrotherapy session and my back pain was instantly gone. Why is that? Because the crap's not only pushing against the front towards the prostate on men, it's also pushing towards the back, and the impacted colon could be pushing on the nerves in your spine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who's thinking of this stuff? I didn't know any of this stuff 10 years ago.
Totally.
You know, but it all makes sense. And I've had so many examples and people getting results in front of me that I've worked with. Just you learn these things. You're just like, oh yeah, well your colon's impacted. So it's a good place to start. Like if you're really wanting to get healthy, I always tell people start with water and getting your digestive tract, the pathway of elimination cleaned up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's all good information for sure. And I think, following up with that, I think, I've personally, I'll speak for myself, but I've really tried to make a push for just my overall health and just eating. I'm pretty much eating just straight greens and,
He set a really
live
good
food.
example, actually, and he's stuck with it.
Yeah. I've lost almost 20 pounds this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Good job,
that's,
man.
that's the bonus of it. But, really, I'm feeling a lot better, right?
Where did it go?
Where did it go? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. We don't
you
need
put
to
it?
find it. Yeah, we don't need to find it. We're good. Good. And then we just heard today that there's a gym that's defying the lockdown order. So we just found out about it today.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
surprised it
one
hasn't
in
been on
New
our
York,
radar.
the one in New York or
No,
Here in
Eugene.
town,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it's just like kind of a.
He said
not
it
a
was
full
okay to
gym.
talk about.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let it plug it.
So, Core Fusion Fitness in
Okay.
Eugene, Oregon. He is phenomenal, and I recommend reaching out to him. Anyone who's listening that's local, Eugene, Springfield, and get in there and get working out because
God, I almost want to drive 2 hours just to support him.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
it's so great. Yeah, he said, I didn't know this. I mean, we've looked all throughout the
Yeah.
entire lockdown. We all lost gyms, a couple of them. And there's a group of people that I still work out with, but it's, quiet on the down low, not at gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But being able to be back in it, like he's been in staunch opposition of these lockdowns since it started, and I didn't hear about any of this until today. I saw a girlfriend was online early this morning, and it was a picture of her just all sweaty, and I could tell she looked like she was in the gym, but the camera was a little close to her face, and she wasn't wearing a mask. And I was like, hey, where are you? And she told me.
Totally.
And she said who to reach out to. So I was like instantly on Facebook Messenger, and he immediately called me, and I was like, this is what I'm looking for. How long have you been doing this? He's like, we haven't closed. It was super inexpensive, super easy. He's the best dude, and everybody that was in there today was just such good energy. And I was like, I'll see you at 5 a.m.
He's got some fun.
Isn't it cool what the energy was like in
Oh,
there?
I couldn't stop shaking his hand. I didn't want to get too creepy and start hugging him, but I told him I was so thrilled to be. I was like, thank you so much for what you do. I'm like, this is real life. I'm like, you don't understand, or maybe you do, how impactful this is. I'm like, for anybody to walk through these doors and see this, but for me in particular to walk through these doors and see this happening. I have not had hope like this in a long time. And to find out that you've been open all of these months, I had no idea. So I said, can we platform you? Can we tell everyone in the world where you are? And he's like, absolutely. So I'm super stoked. So
And he has
Fusion.
and he has some Fuck K Brown shirts too.
He does. He made some Fuck Kate Brown shirts, which I was really, really happy with. I really wanted to buy one, but he has sold his last one.
Oh,
That's awesome.
yeah. So
That's
anyway.
really cool.
Yep.
Well, that reminds me of we were talking earlier about Alfie Oakes.
Yep.
That gentleman down in somewhere in Florida. I think it was Tampa Bay. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
That's not. Yeah.
You said
anyway,
Naples? You said Naples, maybe?
Naples. Yeah, Naples. Alfie Oakes. He owns Oakes Farm Seed to Table Market. So his dad, literally, when he was growing up, he was running like a fruit stand or grocery stand or something like that. Now he's got this big deal, 3,000 employees, and he's never shut down his business. And he's never required anybody to wear masks.
Nice.
And guess what? His business is packed.
Yep.
From morning to night. The people are driving from all over the place. They're coming in. Most of the people aren't wearing masks. He said none of our employees have even gotten sick. We're all just laughing, hugging, having a good time.
Love it.
People come to him all the time and said, thank you so much for doing what you're doing. And they have a big sign up there, and it says, hey, if you want to wear a mask, you can wear one, but per the the guidelines. I think it's the American what is it?
Disabilities Act.
Disabilities Act, ADA.
Yeah.
You don't have to wear a mask, and because you're protected by HIPAA, that privacy for medical, you don't have to tell people what your issue is. You just say,
Totally.
I don't need to wear a mask because of a medical issue. Well, even if you don't have a medical issue and you feel like you're lying, you're not, because as soon as you put a mask on, you are creating medical issues, multiple medical issues, and which we can talk about.
Yeah.
But maskless.
What about 2 masks?
Yeah, it's stupid. So, but like people are like literally saying they're going to his store every day just to feel human again and connect with people and see people's faces and there's that energetics that between us. And I've seen this on Curlian photography. I don't know, you guys familiar with that? Kind of like a night scope, but it measures your body's energy or electric. And then they did different scenes. There was one scene where there's like a grandpa sitting in a chair, and you can see this energy frequency coming off the grandpa, like, and this is like not woo, it's measuring real-time frequency. 3-4-year-old little girl or little boy was running around the rocking chair, and it was almost like they had a tail, a comet tail of energy going behind them. Kind of like Superman. Remember when he went around
totally.
doing that deal? And the grandpa, they're just sitting there having a good time, and then as soon as the kid jumps in the grandpa's lap and they touch, both their frequencies go up.
Wow.
Like you can see it.
Yes.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's real because like it's visual, it's unfortunately a lot of us are more seeing as believing, where we need to be more believing as seeing in a lot of cases.
Yes.
And then they went to the beach and they saw people running. And then as soon as they got in the water and they touched the water, their frequency increased just by being in the water from the beach and all those negative ions crashing down from the waves. It was awesome. And then they took another person and they fed them like a milkshake from like McDonald's, a hamburger. And every time they take a bite of that hamburger or eat the fries or take the milkshake, and their Adam's apple would go up and down, their energy or frequency would go down every single time they took a bite.
Really?
Then they gave them some water, waited about 30 minutes. Then they took a fresh pressed green juice where they went over and they harvested sunflower sprouts and pea sprouts alive, juiced them on the spot, handed it to them, living green juice. And every time that guy took a drink on this photography and his Adam's apple went up and down, whoop, 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 you see his frequency just start glowing, right? So we have to understand that we are electric beings. We are light beings, and everything on this planet comes from the sun. All life on this planet comes from the sun. I mean, think about it. Without the sun here, what would happen? We would freaking freeze. Forget about the cold fronts we're getting in now. Everything, we'd be a frozen ice cube spinning through space, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Without the sun, there is no life. So with the sun, we have life. And if you believe in God, he, she, it, then God put the sun here. So all life comes from the sun. It's captured on the leaf of a plant via photosynthesis. They taught us this in second grade, but somehow we've forgotten about it. And that's where all life is created. That's where proteins are created. That's where your fats are created. Your carbohydrates and your nutrients, like your micronutrients, like vitamins and minerals and trace minerals, and then the other micronutrients that people are not talking about: hormones, oxygen, phytochemicals, and enzymes that you only get from these living foods. So once you cook a food or heat a food or cut a food and ship it 2,500 miles, you lose the last 4. So there's all these things to think about when you think about us being electric, right? And when you're eating a living food, like when you pick something on the spot and eat it, you're actually transferring electric through the enzymes. The enzymes are the carriers of electric, and they bring electric right into the cell. Wow. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
So we can actually charge ourselves, and there's many ways to charge ourselves. Water is a really good conductor, right? So we want to drink lots of water. We want to have fresh juices and eat living foods when you can. Eat lots of sprouts. That's like plugging yourself into a battery. It's like you got a low battery, you just plug it in the car and charge the battery. Making direct contact with the earth with your skin is another way to charge your cells and charge your battery. Also, contact with other human beings and animals and stuff will raise your vibrational frequency and your electric. So there's all these things with this, there's nothing social about distancing. Okay. It's distancing.
I love that.
Okay. It's just simply, it's isolation.
Yeah.
It's low frequency. It's fear. It's, depression, it's anxiety, it's suicide, it's bad thoughts, it's low frequency, low energy, it's manifesting disease. We need to be around people. We're pack animals. right? That's why people go crazy in isolation places. So we have to get back to connecting. We have to get outside and get the sunlight, because again, we are light beings. We got to charge our cells and get that vitamin D and all these things. These are just basic things that, and we need to be able to breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sakes, you need to be able to breathe. So if you guys want to talk about masks right now?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Definitely. Let's get into it.
It's getting crazier and crazier. It's like,
They're selling the 2 masks, man.
Yeah, or 3. 90%
3 masks for 90%.
effective. It's like as the more and more I wake up and it becomes more and more obvious, it seems like everyone else that's bought into this whole time is going further and further into it, further and further more bought into it. It's like at this point, you guys, if you don't see it, what am I missing here?
And I thought like this 2 mask thing was kind of a joke and it was just going to go away, but they're like really pushing this.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing articles every day about how 2 masks are more effective than 1, and it blows me away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just brainwashing, and it's funny because like if you look at like Dr. Fauci, who shouldn't even be allowed to talk. I mean, he should be in jail. Should be in jail.
Totally.
For sure.
In March, I think it was April or March 8th last year, he did a video. It's still, you can see it out there, and it's like, hey, what do you think about masks? He's like, hey, you don't need to wear masks. Yeah, it'll block a little bit, but most of it's just going to go through the mask. That's true. That's actual real science, what he's talking about. Some of it, yes, might collect on the water droplets, but you don't need to wear it. And now he's saying you have to wear 2. Well, what's changed? What science are you looking at? And when we talk about science, we really need to be talking about what kind of science. Are you talking about checkbook science, where companies or corporations or governments will just pay scientists to come up with a result somehow, some way? Well, here's a bunch of money, make this result happen. Find a pathway to, and then which leads into scientific consensus. If a bunch of people in the scientific community that maybe they're bought and paid for or not, or just they're not following the third part, which is the scientific method, which is what we should be following, then just because a whole bunch of people say it's the way to go, well, guess what? A whole bunch of people used to say that the earth was flat. Oh, and guess what? It's round. Okay. And those people that thought it was flat were getting stoned. Yeah. Right. So, it's just like, sorry, but when you put on a cloth mask, most of the people don't understand the particle size of a virus. They're so microscopically small. I think a bacteria is like 1/8 the size of a hair and thin thickness, and viruses are way smaller. So a virus is literally going to fly through your cloth mask like a mosquito flying through a chain link fence.
Yes.
It's not going to work. But I tell you what is happening is that you're creating moisture in that mask, and you're touching it all over the place, and those water droplets are going to collect some viruses and bacteria, and then your mask is turning into a disgusting petri dish, like your those little things they use to wash plates and soaps with, the little scrubber deals. I can't remember what they're called. But not Brillo pads.
Brillo,
you know what I'm talking about. They're like yellow on one side,
Scrubby.
and green on the
scrubby
other.
sponge.
Scrubby.
Little sponge, scrub sponge, or whatever they're called. But those things are nasty. Like you can take a scrub sponge, pour some some hydrogen peroxide on it, and the hydrogen peroxide will start bubbling like crazy. It's full of nasty stuff. Well, that's what you're doing to your mask, and then so you're growing a petri dish full of bacteria and viruses that your body's been expelling, trying to get out of your body. That's part of your deal. And let's go back even further. Our bodies are 380 trillion virus cells, 60 trillion bacterial cells, and 6 trillion human cells. That's what we're composed of. So we're more viruses and bacteria than anything. So to think we're after millions and millions of years of evolution on this planet, that you're going to fix things with Purell and masks and go against the natural order of every part of evolution, it doesn't even make any sense when you stop and think about it. But here's what does happen. Like here in Oregon, we have OSHA, you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
And Kate Brown's using OSHA as basically her thugs. To go to the business owners and say, hey, look, if you don't have people with masks on, they're also using the Oregon Liquor Control too. They're saying those two agencies in and say, you're the thugs. You go tell these business owners that if they don't have a mask, they're $1,500 fine or a $10,000 fine or whatever, right? So now the business owner's like, shit, I don't want to go out of business. You got to put on your effing mask. I don't want you to, but I got to stay in business, okay? They got a family to feed. They got mortgages. They always use money. And we'll get to that in a minute because we've got a solution. So, but then guess what? The OSHA, what they do in real life pre-COVID is like if they go into your business and they measure your air content, and if your carbon dioxide levels are over 2,000 parts per million, they will shut down that business.
Yep.
You have got to fix the air quality, because when your CO2 is that high, that is not good for a human body.
Right.
It's not good. But guess what? As soon as you put a mask on, within 2 breaths, you're over 2,000 parts per million for CO2. Yeah.
Yes.
So instead of 0.04, you're now at 0.4. You just went up like 100%. It's a 100% increase in your CO2 intake, and that's not good. OSHA, by law, will shut you down, but they're forcing you to put on the masks. Okay, I don't think they've connected that yet, right? The other thing is that what I've noticed is, like, it was been a while, but it looked like 87% of the people that were getting COVID were wearing masks.
Yep, exactly.
You have a higher problem. You want to catch COVID, wear a mask.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Totally.
Okay, no, wait, you want a really good chance, wear 2 masks.
Yep.
Right? So all this stuff is crazy. And then, like, what's our number one nutrient? It's oxygen. Think about it. Without oxygen, you're dead in 4 to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Hold your breath and see how long you can hold your breath. It's the most important thing. After that, water. You can live without water for about 11 days. Food, maybe a couple months without food. But oxygen? Oxygen is so important. It's so important for to be in the cell, for all your everything of metabolism. Your lymphatic, your garbage removal system in your body requires movement, water, and oxygen to push all these toxins out of you. Oxygen for your brain. If your brain dips just a little bit in oxygen, you're literally dumber. Your IQ literally goes down. The difference between not having enough water and oxygen in the brain is the difference between looking for your car keys and being able to find them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that big of a difference, guys.
Yeah.
We're talking about massive amount. And when you put on a mask, you drop your oxygen levels by 33%. So, and those of you listening out there, if you have any elderly people and you know their oxygen drops below like 95, they put them on these oxygen machines. Right? Because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think's happened to these old folks and us? We're putting a freaking mask on. You're putting yourself in a danger level as soon as that mask is on your mouth, right? And the N95 mask and stuff like that, they block more. Like, I think it was like they block 45% or something like that of the stuff. But these viruses and bacteria are still getting through. And there's lots of studies showing that even the doctors, now this sounds weird, but there's no real difference. They shouldn't even be wearing masks when they're doing surgeries. Yeah. Now, I know if you watch Seinfeld and you saw the juju fruit go in the dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? You're probably saying that's crazy. But I mean, it's just reality, because we have this belief, the way we think about things, and we don't really understand, like, on a very small level, what's really going on. We really don't.
Well, I think we've been lied to on a massive level, and we've been indoctrinated into this way of thinking from practically birth, right? So I mean, I'm at a point where I'm questioning germ theory as a whole, right? Like, and it comes down to, like, what you just said, like how much of our body is already just made up by viruses. How many viruses are just in the air and everywhere around here? Like, the fact that we're scared of one virus coming here and there, what we should be doing is taking care of our bodies. We should be taking care of ourselves. And if you have a good immune system, then none of these viruses are scary, right? It's like none of it's and if anything, your immune system gets to work out a little bit when one of these viruses comes and hits you, right? So
it actually wants that. It's called
totally.
And Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai talks about this. This is one of the preeminent experts on the immune system. Yeah. Like this guy literally has a $2 billion company. I talked to him in person, well, not in person, but on a Zoom call 2 weeks in a row now, and he took me inside of Cytosolve and showed me what's going on. And let me tell you what, it's badass. Nobody, I guarantee Fauci couldn't even hold it. He couldn't even hold this guy's jockstrap when it comes to what's going on in immunity. I mean, not even close. Yep. He takes it down to a molecule, and then you click on the button, and then it spreads open another tree of all these other molecules and then you click on that, and another tree, down to these NK2 pi. I mean, it's way beyond like anything. It's mapped out the conversations that cells are having in between each other and pathways and stuff. They've taken people's like 30 years of work, 40 years of work, 50 years of work on how just one cell communicates to another cell, mathematically map that into the system, and took somebody else's work and mapped that, and all these people gathered all the studies of all these people's works, how cells are communicating, and put it into this mathematical model of the systems approach, just like he invented email when he was 14 years old. Yep. And he created a systems approach to email, to the email delivery system. He's done the same thing with mapping out our cells and how they communicate. And what he's effectively done is eliminated animal testing on animals now.
Wow.
So now it's awesome because you can put it in, he can tell what the nutrient's going to do. Is it going to lower inflammation? Is it going to raise inflammation? Is it going to cause a problem? Is it going to be beneficial? How much beneficial? What if you put 2 ingredients together, one 50%, one 50%, put it in? Does that reduce inflammation? You know what I mean? It's this really cool modeling system. And he also is talking about, and this is a big takeaway, especially for business owners and for consumers. So Dr. Shiva's created these cards called Masks and Oral Health, building awareness of risks of masks to you and your child. Yeah. And then on the front of the card, it just says, learn more, vashiva.com/masks. Yeah. So this isn't like, hey, asshole, wearing that stupid mask, you're a moron. Or, hey, dickhead, you're not wearing a mask. You're going to kill everybody. You're spreading COVID, right? So again, it's this right, left, black versus white. They always pin us against each other. And we have to stop taking sides, and we have to go right to science. We have to remove the emotion from it and look at what's really going on. And what the science is that the oral microbiome in our mouth, that's the mouth bacteria, is critical to our health. It's part of our immune system, okay? There's the innate immune system, the adaptive immune system. You've got the interferon system, which you were talking about earlier, that wants viruses and wants bacteria so it can become stronger and more resilient. Yes. That's how we build up herd immunity and we become strong. We boost our immune system. And it also talks about the gut biome, which is also in your mouth, in the digestive tract, and the brain. So there's actually 5 major components on the immune system, and our modern medical system is only talking about 2 of them. They're not even talking about the interferon system or the gut digestive tract oral microbiome in the mouth and the brain, and all of those being connected. But the reality is the real science shows that child with oral microbiome development is a predictor of that child's future health. Systems biology reveals masks disrupt oral microbiome. So what that means is when you put a mask on, you're actually creating a hotter temperature in your mouth, raising the acid and the pH, and then there's 3 bacteria in there that start proliferating and growing out of control. One of them is gingivitis. And what's happening, this is happening, check your dentist. Dentists are reporting up to 50% increase in oral health issues. People's gums and their teeth are rotting out of their mouth, and cracked teeth are going up. So what are the public health implications? Well, we need a risk assessment done on mask to oral health. We need a provision for coverage for emerging dental issues. So what we can do is like, hey, Mr. Checker at the grocery store, did you know that by wearing that mask, you're disrupting your oral microbiome, and you could cause your teeth to rot out and your teeth to crack? Is your employer going to pay for that? Right? And all of a sudden, the employees start going, wait a minute. Yep. You're making me put this mask on. You're disrupting my immune system. You're rotting out my teeth, cracking my teeth. And if I'm younger, if I'm a kid, and you could ruin that kid's immune system for their entire future. Like, do you have something for me to pay for this? And I don't want this. So now the employer's like going to the state and saying, hey, you're making me do this. You need to compensate me to pay for that. And you see, we can turn it on them.
Okay.
Sure.
With science, the scientific method. So maybe there should be tax credits for parents choosing to homeschool their kids as an option. Yeah. I'm not going to send my kids to school and destroy their freaking health and their oral microbiome and mess up their immune system for life. So, hey, government, you're forcing this stuff in the schools. I can't put my child at risk. You need to give me credit. Because I have to stay home. One of us has to stay home now and teach our kids. So you need to give me a $20,000 tax credit or something. That's where we start making difference. Okay, we have to have education, and we have to have an investment in scientific research of mask use. So you guys can go, anybody listening can go to VA Shiva, Victor Alpha, or Victory America Shiva, SHIVA.com/join. And then you can, I would suggest joining him. He's an MIT for PhD at MIT, which is ridiculous. Multiple successful companies, and he's training us for $100. You pay $100 once, and he trains us every Monday night from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you're getting an MIT level training on systems approach to everything in your life. Wow. Systems approach to your health, systems approach to your business, systems approach to political stuff, everything.
Wow.
Wow.
And if you want to go a little farther, you can join the Warrior program like I have. And those cards that I'm talking to you guys about, those are available on his website. I've downloaded them to Vistaprint. I ordered 2,000 of them. They're now going to start going out with all my orders for when clients buy them. I'm going to start sending this stuff out. I'm investing in the health of our country the best I can do. And that's what we have to do. We have to take care of our health, and we have to bring awareness to people, not like, you're a moron for not wearing a mask. You're stupid for wearing a mask. But realizing that, look, we just need awareness. Here, hey, did you know that it's disrupting the temperature in your mouth, and it's going to rot your teeth out because your oral microbiome is very important. And people are like, what? It's a very nice way of doing it. It's like, hey, this is awareness around the risk of masks to you and your child. It's a very soft way of approaching things, and I think that's what we need to get away from fighting with each other.
Absolutely. That's exactly where they want us. They want us bogged down in that little trench, and I've spent so much time and energy just arguing mask, no mask this whole time. It's like I could have used that energy for a lot more productive things. And that's exactly where they want us.
Then they spend like our money, like the $900 billion COVID package, which only $200 billion of our money went to us, and $700 billion went to other countries. Like Pakistan got $25 billion. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yep.
$10 billion of it went to gender awareness programs. What the hell does that have to do with the COVID package? What does it have to do with it?
Absolutely
I get so frustrated about this because they're like, oh, there's over 400,000 people have died. I'm like, yeah, right. We know that maybe 10% of those are actually correct.
Yeah. Right.
Where'd the flu deaths go? Where's the pneumonia deaths?
That's a great one. The flu
deaths
deaths
just disappeared.
Yeah.
It's like the flu's like, oh, COVID's got it. I'm gonna take a vacation.
Yep. I just pulled up a graphic on the Oregon Health Authority, and it literally says I think up till year to date to 2021, we've had 3 positive flu cases. In the entire state.
I think that they've come out and said, the CDC has said that they are lumping the flu and pneumonia and all these things into the COVID number. I mean,
totally.
But they've also said, only 6% of the actual COVID deaths recorded only had COVID.
You know what's interesting about that is because I remember when that stat came out, I just looked this up the other day. So I got this all plugged in at my work computer, waiting for somebody to walk by and challenge me. I've got like all these tabs open, ready to go. So anyway, but when that stat came out, it said 2.6 comorbidities, right? Average of 2.6 comorbidities in addition to COVID that caused the death, right? And so I was doing a Google search for 2.6 on the CDC site, and it wouldn't pop up. So the reason being is because now it's 2.9. So now they've actually increased the number of average comorbidities that are causes of death.
Actually making people sicker by wearing masks and social distancing and the isolation.
Well, here's how they're
stopping all
marketing.
relevant life.
Yep.
I had you guys. I don't know if you were there, but I had him on my podcast. I know he's on the Union. They wanted Senator Dr. Scott Jensen of Minnesota.
Definitely. Love him.
And we talked about this, and that's where he was getting frustrated because I've been filling out death certificates for 30 years.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden they're telling me I have to change the way I fill out death certificates based on this COVID thing. And he's like, this is not how it works. He's like, if some dude didn't take care of his health, he's smoking cigarettes, eating hamburgers his whole life, he's overweight, he's got heart disease, he doesn't move much, and he has to have a stent and then maybe a bypass, and then, he's not doing well, and then he develops, hypertension or diabetes or something. And then he gets COVID and dies. Well, was it COVID that killed him? No, it was he freaking had heart disease. He was going to die anyway. It was just he was on his way out because he didn't take care of his health. And I would say this, that half the people that have those issues are good people. Like I know I'm a good person, and I was in that situation. I could have had a heart attack with all the stuff and crap I was eating, shoveling down my throat. But I didn't know any better. Nobody ever told me.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know how corrupt the food industry was and how many toxic chemicals and additives and flavor enhancers and all this high fructose corn syrup with glyphosate and all these weird things that they're doing to our food today. I didn't know about any of that. And I think a lot of people out there don't. Yeah. So these foods are very addictive. They're very destructive. But COVID death, boop, and there's another death. No, it wasn't COVID. Right. So Dr. Jensen said the cause of death in that situation would have been heart disease. Yeah. Right. It would have been marked down as heart disease. COVID wouldn't have been on there.
Right.
So
certainly, and he might have went and gotten checked if he was able to go to the hospital, but the hospitals at least for most of last year, they were very restricted, and a lot of people weren't going to their regular appointments to get these things checked. So there was an increase in death in heart disease and cancer and these kind of issues, chronic issues as well. So.
But the good news on that is that lower level of SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, because kids aren't getting vaccinated as often.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, there was another thing on that was
I
I put this together and I was like, oh my God, and I wish I would have had a bigger platform at the time to get it out there, but I was like, because then some other people picked it up. What happened is that when COVID first came out and there was the lockdowns, the parents couldn't take their kids in to see their pediatricians for their baby well visits is what they're called. Baby well visits. That's when they go in and they get their shots, right?
Death visits.
And at the same time, what happened to those kids and infant mortality rates dropped like a rock.
Totally.
Yep.
Now I'm thinking, wait a minute, children's deaths dropped dramatically. What changed? They couldn't go to the doctor and get those shots.
Yep.
For sure.
Like,
100%.
I'm like, I said, I'm not is there a correlation there?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm thinking there is.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking there definitely is.
Well, we
correlation
have
there.
proof of that correlation now. Dr. Paul Thomas, right up in Portland there, I mean, he has the vax versus unvax study that we've always wanted. He has done it now. He had a big practice. I think it was like 3,000 kids, and he had fully vaxxed, partially vaxxed, and unvaxxed, and the numbers speak for themselves. The number of autoimmune diseases and things in kids that were fully vaxxed or partially
What's that guy's
vaxxed
name?
compared. Dr. Paul Thomas.
Yeah, you guys got to hook me up with him. I want to get him on my show.
Yeah, you'd have to hook us up with him.
totally.
We're all trying to get him.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get a hold of him.
Yeah.
He just
Yes.
started a new show up
Okay,
there
and then-
too.
and then you'll send him to
It's
us, right?
incredible.
There you go.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool. Certainly.
Tag team.
There you go.
Yay.
Bam.
Yeah, but the evidence is right there. I mean, it's we've known. So many parents have known for so long. They've watched their kids going to these appointments, and they've declined in their They fall off, man. They fall off. It happens all the time, or they get these chronic issues that the doctors tell them that's a phase, or that's just what
That's
kids
just
deal
normal.
with.
Yeah,
That's-
that's just how they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal.
Well, it's also worth mentioning too that Dr. Thomas had his medical license revoked too.
But five
Before doing the study.
5
Yes.
days after that peer-reviewed
Yep.
study came out, the Oregon Medical Board and came and revoked his license, and it was suspended, I believe. But he was on the high wire with Dell, and they went through every single point that they revoked his license over, and it's just all BS,
Bullshit.
right? I mean, you know it, but it's a peer-reviewed study. You can't argue with it. The science is
Right.
there. So, like, science is already there. The damage is done. Sorry, guys, but you lost.
Well,
But-
nothing's changed historically with them shutting doctors up who actually want to heal somebody, who actually are trying to get through to the truth, or actually trying to utilize plant medicines or vitamins and minerals and all these things that actually help our bodies to be healthy historically. With Rockefeller medicine, they've never stood for that. They've arrested doctors, they've pulled their licenses. This is nothing new under the sun, except for it's new to this generation, right? Like those of us sitting at this table, we get it, but so many people don't understand. But yeah, it's terrifying what they've done to him. Really.
I think some people are still stuck back in the point where they actually think that these pharmaceutical companies care
trying to
about their
help
health, and
think you're
they don't
right.
understand that it is literally a business to them. And we talked about this. We had another interview last night. You have to pay out $5 billion in damages for all the people you killed because of your medication, but you make $15 billion, and that's $10 billion profit, and that's just the cost of doing business. These people literally only care about us being sick and bogged down in this place where we're dependent on them
customers for
forever.
them.
And what better way to create a lifelong
It's-
customer than
it's
That's
all
it.
about
vaccines,
building customers. It's about shareholder profit. That's
Yep.
what it all comes down to in big pharma. So I think
The most powerful entity on earth, man. They just dwarfs anything else that could possibly,
the big ag is right up there with
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
the poison they're putting in our foods is I mean they all work kind of simultaneously together to kind of you are always coming back to big pharma, right?
Yep.
We'll poison you with the food and in the air
And
and
then
the
we'll
water.
sell you the treatment
and
for the
then-
side
yeah,
effects for the
totally.
food that we're poisoning you with, and
Yeah.
So-
Dr. Shiva breaks that down pretty good. I mean, he shows that and I was aware of part of this, but the pharmaceutical companies are literally losing profits hand over fist with their patented drugs because the patents are running out and they become really cheap. That's why there's no push for hydroxychloroquine because it's cheap. It's
Totally,
been around for
totally,
67 years. That's why they pushed what I think was remdesivir because it's $3,000.
Totally.
And Shiva went in and did hydroxychloroquine. He did remdesivir, and he showed that remdesivir does work, but if the virus makes one little mutation, it ain't going to work anymore. Just one little switch and it won't work. And it's 3,000. Hydroxychloroquine is going to work great, and it's cheap, right?
Yeah.
And then there was Dr. What's his name? out of Texas. I think it was Richard Bartlett or something.
Yeah.
And he was using budesonide, that inhaled steroid with zinc.
Yep.
And having success.
He was saying 100% success, I believe he was saying with that. So
yeah, and if you look at it was Japan, Singapore, and Taiwan. I think there's 151 million people. This was back in July of 2020. There was only 1,000 deaths out of 150 million people, and they were using a similar thing over there, like the budesonide and zinc deal.
Yeah, and then you look at Africa.
They live on islands, man. So they social distancing is not really possible. They'd all be floating around in the ocean.
Yep.
I mean, Africa. I mean, they use hydroxychloroquine as like over the counter there, and I mean their death rate is much less than ours is, and then maybe some things are changing now, but for a long time, their death rate was nothing compared to what we've been looking at, certainly. But
so here's the thing: even if 440,000 people have died of COVID, which I believe it's probably 90% of that is not true.
Yep.
Right.
Even if that was true, what we're doing is hurting more people. I mean, there's 8-9 million people have been thrown into poverty.
Yes.
9 million people, business owners, are on the verge of losing their business and their livelihood. A lot of them already have. The restaurant industry is wiped out. Yep. The next thing they're going for is the small practitioner, the massage therapist, the Reiki person, the colon hydrotherapist, the naturopath, the functional medicine docs. They're going to try to knock them out next with these lockdowns because they can't keep their business open. They just can't do it. Crushing small business while multi-millionaires, billionaires have increased their money like tremendously. Trillions of dollars they put in their pockets.
Yep.
Another thing that Dr. Shiva brought up was that we actually, if you're making $50,000 today, you should be making $120,000. The elites have rigged things and they've been squeezing more out of us. So think about that. If you're making $50,000 today and you're struggling, you should be making $120,000 for that job, but you're not. So what happened to us is we had major growth from the early 40s until like 1971, and then the squeeze started happening. What created that uphill where all jobs crossed everything, where everybody's incomes raised? That was a bottoms-up working class movement. So that's what we need to get back to. We can't wait for politicians.
No.
We can't wait for celebrities, whether they be athletes or Hollywood. We can't wait for billionaires, even if they're nice and they talk good. What we need to do is we need to take charge ourselves. And it starts with us and on a local level, and what you can do about getting our elections to be fair again. We need to go back to one vote, one person, one vote, paper ballot. Election software is decentralized. People hand counted ballots, period. Those go in. We have to, do the exact opposite and take it down to the local level. And that's the only way we're going to get our country back. Because right now there's no elections. If Dr. Shiva has proved it after running for Senate, and the election fraud is the weighted race feature internally where they can change votes with a click. We're all screwed. Voting doesn't really mean anything anymore and then they throw away, even in his federal race, by law, for 22 months, you're supposed to keep the ballot images, the ballot record. They just deleted them. They've broken federal law. And there's a code, and he's got them, he's taking them to court, and he's winning so far in his what he's doing. So he's the only one that hasn't backed down that I've seen.
I got a lot of respect for him, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. He's one of my favorites. He's an amazing human. Yeah,
and maybe I agree on a fundamental level. I would love to get back to that place. I'm taking it back more to the personal level that you're talking about. I mean, we've created our freedom cell around here, and we're trying to just become as less dependent.
Autonomous.
Yeah, less dependent on the system. Do not depend on the system. We want to build our own better. Fuck the build back better. Build our own better, and they can do what they want, but I don't want to be dependent on them, because I think, living in Oregon, you got to know, like, that vaccine, like, they're getting more and more people. She's going to start making it really hard for us that are not going to take that vaccine, whether it's by a mandate or it's just, you can't go to the concert or the
grocery
store, or whatever it is, right? Like that, these things are coming. I mean, a year ago you would have thought that was crazy, but when we were all saying it, here we are right now.
It's never going to end.
Yeah, certainly.
Unless we end it.
Yep.
And it can happen like that. If everybody just says, I'm not wearing a
No
mask.
more. Yep.
Yep.
Totally.
I'm done. If everybody just said I ain't wearing a mask, I ain't doing it.
That's the
I'm
one
buying
thing it
this.
would take.
I'm not gonna get a shot.
Yep.
Screw you.
Yeah.
All you've done is hurt people with this stuff. You're not helping anybody. But here's the problem is that a lot of people in the medical community are brainwashed, even though they're good folks.
Yep.
There's about 30% of the population that you're never going to change the way they think.
Yep.
Right.
They are hook, line, and sinker.
Yep.
20% of the people think like we do.
Yep.
Yep.
That leaves 50%, and they can be swayed with education. So, when you look at social media and you want social media followers and stuff like that, that's what a lot of people are looking for. What we really need is leaders.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need people that are going to take the time to get educated so they can have an intelligent conversation, and they can not have this right-left, black-white debate. They can go right down the middle and give people information so they can get educated and make an intelligent decision. That's what we need. And that's how we're going to tip the scale. So it really boils down to taking care of self independence and educating. Everywhere you go to the grocery store and it's like, hey, your mask. Tell them about the mask. Hand out those oral
And
health
I think the
awareness
cards are
cards.
great because I do think, like, you mentioned social media. I mean, that's about as controlled platform as we see. I mean, just as well as I do, like how many of our friends have been stripped off of YouTube or their Facebook page goes away,
yeah,
or
dude.
like these big tech companies, we need to get off of them, and we need, like, the cards are great,
Yep.
Getting the
Grimerica
cards
just got
out.
nuked
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah.
Who did?
Grimerica. our
They
friends at
did?
Grimerica, Yeah.
Off where?
Off, I think Twitter. I think a couple
No
other ones.
shit.
They've been getting
It's they're coming for us all,
Yep.
and if we're on their platforms, we just need to get off. We need to stop depending on their platforms.
I'm off. I'm going to shoot a video on all of them and leave it as my bye-bye video. And this is all the new platforms I'm going to be on.
Nice.
That's
Love
great.
that.
That's
I'll,
great.
I'll just leave it up. That's it. Not going to communicate with it anymore. Anybody's got Gmail accounts, anything to deal with Google,
Yeah.
change your accounts. Go to protonmail.com. It's a
Proton
secure,
Mail.
encrypted. Right, get on Proton Mail. Start looking for different VPNs and servers. I'm going with Dr. Shiva, man. He's got his own. I mean, he's got Echo Mail, which is a enterprise level Fortune 1000 company software, where like somebody like a Dell Computers would be like hiring him to check their email and run their CRM, and they pay him like $300,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Big ass companies. He's bringing that technology down to us, and I want to get my business moved onto his private servers that he owns in his building.
Yeah.
That are fast, and
I
then
like
Parler was stupid, man. Why would they
Yeah.
go with Amazon? Stupid.
Yeah.
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
I think Amazon's corrupt.
Yeah,
Totally,
and
totally.
like, so we're on Rockfin, you know what I mean? Like, we're moving our video content over there, and like I was doing a who is lookup on them, and it says like AWS, Amazon World Services is their server host. I'm like, it's a huge vulnerability, guys. Like, what are
Yeah.
you thinking
Yeah,
here? Like,
yeah.
holy crap. So,
We-
You're
we've-
gonna look into
Send him an
Dr.
email.
Shiva's instead.
dude, we came across like some information that just put Dr. Shiva's credibility through the roof the other day, and it's just like, dude, I'm 100%. I've always
been on board with
100%, but just like, dude, real deal. Yeah.
With what happens is like what I see is like when people say is like when you grab somebody and the harder you squeeze,
Yeah.
the easier they're going to slip through the fingers sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And with all this pressure and stuff like that, people like Dr. Shiva are going to emerge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like the perfect. He's like the Antichrist for these. You know what I mean? He's just
Yeah.
like the exact opposite. He's a dark-skinned dude dating a nice white gal, right? He's smarter than everybody in the room. He's got the history. He comes from a slaved caste society where he was supposed to be a coconut picker. And he invented email that we all enjoy today. Imagine if he got a penny for every email that was sent.
Yeah.
He'd be a multi-gazillionaire,
Yep.
right? And he studied SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, and he was doing pattern analysis on that as one of his PhDs when he was in MIT. So what I like about him too is he played baseball. And he was a good pitcher, so he's an athlete, and he's a cool dude. He'll throw out an F-bomb or two, say the S word, but he's just a real person.
Yeah.
Totally.
And he's healthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
A really healthy person. And he just really I don't know, man. I can't. We're talking a lot about him tonight, but it's just
It's all good.
we need somebody to, people need to be led and we need to be taught, and he's willing to take his time and do it and take that time away from him growing his businesses and making more money. He figured he's probably lost $500,000 just in the effort he's put into trying to push this movement for truth, freedom, and health. And he said, even if I don't get the Senate seat, it's never going to stop this movement.
Yep.
This movement will continue regardless if I have that Senate seat. The only reason I ran for it was to have a bigger platform to speak from, but it doesn't matter. He's not stopping. So, I don't know. I think it's a good place to get educated.
Definitely gonna look into that. Yeah. Well, shoot, Tim, do you have any final thoughts here? Anything to wind us down?
Oh man, I guess as always, just put yourself first. Act local, think global, but act local. Act in your own house. Take care of your health. Boost your immune system. Help your family boost their immune system. Get educated. Get a lot of storable foods. Start storing up on nuts, seeds, grains, and beans. I have thousands of pounds here at the house because things can go bad. I mean, I can't remember. I haven't looked this up, but it looked like 46% of the money floating around in the United States has been printed within the last like 6 or 12 months.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You're going to be heading for hyperinflation like Jimmy Carter days when it was like, 18, 19, 21% car loans. Things are going to change. Fiat currency could go to hardly anything. Yeah. So, what's going to be worth it if things get really bad? Clean water. You're going to need some food. You're going to need shelter. You're going to need protection. See what else? Communication. You're going to need communication devices. I've been telling everybody, get some ham radios and talk to your neighbors and, act local, be prepared. Don't live in fear. Take action and change things, but be prepared if shit hits the fan that you can take care of you and your family. You don't have to worry about the food. Eliminate the fear. I ain't worried. I got tons of food. I'll live for years down there.
Yep.
I go outside and eat dandelion leaves.
Exactly. And then community. I think building community while we can is like such an important part of what we've been focusing on too. So
I've been to every mask-free big room of people that know what's going on as I possibly can. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of it going
on.
Yeah,
if there's anything that we can do to help you guys out, I do a lot of free advice on my podcast, The Health Hero Show. You guys can add that to the description. People can check it out.
Certainly.
How to boost your immune system, how to detox, and I've got a lot of cool guests on there. We had Del Bigtree, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other people like that. So there's a lot of free information there. I do a weekly live group coaching. So if you want to join our community, you can do that. And we have products to help detox and flood your body with nutrition. And all of our stuff is sun-dried or air-dried under 110 degrees. It's all from nature. There's no synthetics, no chemicals at our chemical-free body products. And they produce results. And we have a double your money back guarantee on all of our stuff. So we'd love for you guys to try them out. And I always suggest if you go, because we have a lot of products, go to the products tab, go to the savings bundles and pick something there, save some dough. And then when you go to checkout, we have that discount code, which was Truth, right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Put Truth in for your first time and you can get a double discount. So you get an additional 5% off of that. And then again, we have a double your money back guarantee because I know the stuff works. If it doesn't, please call us. We will help you find a solution, whether it's another one of our products or somebody else's products, or maybe it's a therapy you need to do, or maybe you need a grounding mat or, something else. We have a lot of hacks over here to help people get their health back.
Now, okay, so on that, though, the first time we met you, we was at the Union of the Unwanted, and you were talking about how you're grounded. I'm grounded right now, and we've been talking about it a lot.
I'm grounding right now.
Yeah, that's like Megan. When we were first before we got to know you, she's like, "Oh, is that the grounding guy?" Yeah, so you're like the grounding guy. So tell us about that. I'm curious what that is exactly.
So it's really simple. Grounding is just us being connected to Mother Earth, Gaia, right? So people don't understand is like the Earth has a magnetic force, but if you take like a compass and you see the arrow move, right? Anywhere on the planet, that arrow is going to move. What's going on there? You see it moving, so you know something's going on, right? Well, the Earth puts off a frequency, and that frequency literally, physically charges our cells and gives us energy and reduces inflammation. So as soon as you're bare skin, think about it. Every single living creature on this planet is in contact with the Earth someplace, or they're either in the water or whatever. Remember when I said that people were running through the water, and as soon as they touched the water, their electrical frequency showed up more in those Kirlian photography deals? Well, it's the same thing. And this isn't woo-woo. I was just talking about this earlier on another show. I can literally, it's called dark field microscopy, and we can look at your blood. So we take a live blood sample and we look at your blood, and you see it doing its thing or whatever. Now you go out and you go barefoot for 2 hours, or lay in the grass naked, and then boom, you come in, we prick your finger again, and we look at under that microscope, and your blood is going to be racing around on the screen. And why is that? Because you just got charged. So as soon as you break contact with Mother Earth, inflammation begins, and inflammation is the precursor to all disease. This is going to lead to you aging faster. You're not going to have as much energy. You're not going to sleep as well. You're not going to heal as fast. This is what's going to happen when you're not into the natural flow of things, because people forget that we are nature. Okay. Yes. Our cells, again, we're 380 million or trillion viruses, 60 trillion bacteria, and 6 trillion human cells. And these all came from Earth, right? So we come from the soil. We need to be in contact with it. So like this thing right here that I'm touching on my desk, this is a grounding pad. Okay. Outside of every home and office, they drive an iron rod down into the ground, and then that wire goes into the electrical grid. It's that third prong. That's the ground. That's the foundation that holds the electrical grid together. Well, what these companies can do, like earthing.com, that's where I get my stuff, earthing.com. You just go and you buy these mats. So right now, this thing right here is actually plugged into that third prong. So I'm actually getting the frequency from Mother Earth right now while I'm working. I have another one down below with my bare feet, and I'm touching it. And when I go to sleep, I have a grounding pad on my bed.
All right, we're getting grounding pads.
Yeah, right.
So this is a no-brainer. This is awesome, because once you purchase this stuff, it's once and done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're just getting the benefits every night you sleep or every time you're touching these things.
That's great.
So, and if you want to see a cool movie, it's called The Grounded. And this dude for National Geographic was up in Alaska, living up there. It was the middle of winter. It was like literally 7-8 feet of snow outside. And he was in tremendous pain, physical pain. He's probably in his 50s. And he was in so much pain. He looked and he's like, earthing, grounding. He's like, that sounds kind of woo-woo. And then he kept looking, and finally he's in so much pain. He's like, shit, I got to try something. He literally goes outside, crawls under his cabin in the middle of the winter, 20 below, kind of digs in the dirt, makes a spot, and gets naked and lays in the dirt for 20 minutes until he just couldn't take the cold anymore. But this guy's, you have to be in a lot of pain to be naked in 20 below and dirt.
Yeah.
Okay. Comes back up, and he said he got one of the best night's sleep he's had in a long time. So he's like, shit, I'm trying that again. So he went down there again before bed, 20 minutes, all he could take again. He comes back in, and he slept through the night, did really good, and he noticed his teeth weren't grinding anymore. So he said, well, I can't keep going out in the dirt every night. It's too cold. So he ran some leads into the ground and ran the wires through his window into patches that he put on the bottom of his feet, and his pain was gone.
Wow.
And then he reached out to these people and was like, hey, you got this earthing company. And they're like, oh, we'll send you some stuff. So they sent him boxes of stuff. He started putting it on all these people up in this little podunk town in Alaska, and people started healing. Their shoulders started healing. They started sleeping better. All these problems started going away. And the only person that came up to him, this lady, old lady, she handed the stuff back. She goes, I can't take it anymore. He's like, why? Isn't it helping you? And she's like, yes, it's helping too much. And she goes, I'm on Social Security disability, and if they find out how good I feel, they could take away my money. So I mean, I thought it was funny, but
damn,
it's funny how people think. But
yeah.
I got to keep my health bad, otherwise I won't have my money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right. So anyway, this guy was a documentary dude for National Geographic, so he made a documentary called The Grounded.
Yeah.
And you can look it up. It's really awesome. I suggest after you watch that, you're gonna be like, I'm gonna get 25,000 grounding mats and put them all over my floor, my house, and everywhere, and get grounded, because it's a smart thing to do. This is scientific method type stuff we're talking about here, not woo-woo. This isn't scientific consensus or checkbook science. We're talking about things that work. And again, just try it out. See how you feel.
Awesome.
So all of my private coaching clients, we get them grounding. It's one of the first things we do, because it's inexpensive and it's passive. Once you buy it once, you set it up and done. Set it and forget it, and you're going to have a much lower inflammation, and you're going to start healing better and sleeping better.
Amazing.
Love it.
I love
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you so much, you guys. Hope everybody goes and checks out the Health Hero Show and then chemicalfreebody.com. Anything else you want to shout out?
That's it. Put yourself first. Act local.
Awesome. All right, Tim. Thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you so much, Tim. It's so good to see you again.
Definitely good
Yeah,
to see you.
Really
awesome.
love to talk to
We
you.
got us
Thanks for
inspired
having me
once
on.
again.
Yeah, we got to get Dr. Paul Thomas too.
Yeah,
both
yeah.
of us.
We'll stay in touch about that, both of us, eh?
I got it written down, guys.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Too.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks so much.
Everybody, that was Tim James, the health hero with Chemical-Free Body. Absolutely phenomenal. Definitely check into all these things. Go find Dr. Shiva. Find Dr. Paul Thomas.
Get grounded, man. Get grounded.
Now you
That's
know,
what I
Scott.
wanna do.
Okay, so I want to take this back to the summertime where I kept trying to get Scott in bare feet outdoors everywhere
Yeah.
that we went.
Dude, I have
You have
what
such
was
sensitive feet.
what was my I had a term for it.
I have sensitive feet too.
Oh man, it was funny too.
Was it
like,
about your feet?
Yeah. I was like I have
He's
a
sensitive.
like sensitive feet. Yeah. I couldn't walk around too much. Damn, there was a really funny term we were using. What
I
was
don't
it?
remember. My memory's not good with that.
Damn. Okay.
It.
Oh well.
Okay,
Come
but
to
I
it.
was. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now we go back. So I was telling you how powerful it was. Remember, I was like, and you connect like to your energy, and it like rejuvenates you. And you have to be grounded. I was like way getting on Scott about it, like everywhere that we went all summer. And then we heard him on Union talking about being grounded when he was sitting at his desk. And so I'm glad that you thought to ask him that, because I've wondered that since, and I didn't remember in the moment. So.
And I always wondered, like when he had said it on Union, I figured like the ground was below him. I'm like, I didn't know he had like a pad that you just plug into the ground.
That's kind of what I was
right?
thinking of. I was thinking it was maybe something like that, like something that ran outside that sucked the energy out of the ground or something.
I couldn't envision what it would be,
But it's
I'm down.
proven science. I'm totally into.
It's
Totally
like
down,
walking
dude.
in the Rogue River, Scott.
Yeah.
With no
To be
shoes
clear
on.
though, he kept like knocking woo woo a little bit, and I'm loving woo woo.
I love
so
woo woo.
woo
Woo
woo's
is great.
It's just like saying conspiracy theorists, though. We're saying like anything that people aren't used to, like these terms end up being like, it's like the the discount it. Like, oh, that doesn't mean anything because it's this. Oh, this is, this base, so it's not that. Or you believe this. And it's not invalidating. Actually, it's like anything. The more that we look
when
into
I
these
say
matters.
woo woo, it's positive.
It's positive.
I'm totally
And
gonna
Tasha
positive.
says woo woo all the time, and I love that word. It's like
totally.
perfect. So
Totally. I'm like because the alternative is to me is big pharma.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
woo woo is
Exactly.
like I'm gonna, and maybe I have
woo
a
woo is like
positive connotation to it.
a
I'm like,
healing
It's
plant
hope.
lady.
It's
Healing
hope.
plant
It's
lady.
faith.
let's go find like some real alternatives to like the holistic approach, right? Like which is I guess maybe his point taken is like there's proven science on their side
Absolutely.
as well. A lot
For
of
people who
proven
are like, that
science.
sounds crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I can understand what he's like. Anyone who has never heard that, like, I all the time say that energy is so palpable, that we are just these meat suits in this, energetic spiritual realm, and to have other people confirm that. I mean, it isn't just in my imagination. It is very, very true. So
I
it's
want to
really
see.
cool.
I want to get one of those lights and see the energy off.
I want them to prick my finger and jump in the ocean and prick my finger again. So, anyways.
Yes, we got a lot to live for, everybody.
So we got to take Megan to the ocean and prick her fingers.
Yep. Okay. We're gonna take Megan to the ocean and drain her blood. Dude.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So you guys, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sitting through another Tim James episode, which man,
He's
I
so
feel
phenomenal.
like he's great, man. A wealth of knowledge, man.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have him on every time, and just reiterate that please go find his products. If you do use the truth code, we would appreciate it. That helps us out. But if anything, just go find his products and look into these things. So
and Tara at Alderbrook Healing Arts
please.
in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
Please go and see her, and then send everyone you know to go see her, and you are going to fall in love with her because she is a magical healing
She's
woman.
amazing.
So
She's
you will love
amazing,
her.
and
Absolutely.
I have this envision, and maybe I shouldn't speak out on it, but I would love the two of them to be on like the same podcast.
Oh yeah.
Tara
Like
and Tim.
a whole health
feel like
health
they-
episode. Yeah.
I feel like they would have their knowledge. Would they?
Yeah. It would
And
be too
Dr.
much.
Becker, if we could.
Oh, and Dr. Becker. That's
I would
right.
love to get
Dr.
the
Becker.
Dude, we would
Right.
make that's podcast history right there.
Do you want me to write them? Get all three of them?
Okay.
Yep. Do it.
All right. A
Okay.
Truthzilla roundtable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, all right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for sitting in with us. We appreciate your ongoing support and encouragement. I am Megan, sitting here with my good friends, Scott and Ed, and we wish all of you intellectual prosperity. Good night.
Pew pew. Pew pew. Union of the Zilla.
Yeah.